Happy Friday, Roanchar Ranchers. I hope everybody had a nice week. As you can see, Louie is enjoying his applesauce treat that has his medication in it, and he gobbles it right up. So I wanted to update everybody on Louie's exam. He was an absolute rock star for it. We prepped him over the weekend by putting his feet on blocks like they were going to for his x-rays. And, you know, he's had x-rays done before, but we just wanted to kind of refresh his memory on what was going to be asked of him. And he was an absolute rock star. He did everything that was asked for him. He stood very, very nicely. He actually, even at one point, started to fall asleep a little bit while they were doing the x-rays. So the x-rays on his feet were actually better than we thought they were going to be. We thought that they was going to show significant navicular disease, and actually he had a mild case on one foot, and not too much worse on the other one. So his front right is the one that showed more of the navicular disease. It also showed that at some point he did have an episode of laminitis. It was hard to tell, you know, how recently it was, but the changes in the foot did show that at some point in his life he did have some laminitis. He also has a very, very, very flat foot, almost to the point that the angle is negative. Mark is going to be working on that to help alleviate some of the pressure and get it more to a normal angle. He also has barely any sole either. So we've been working on that. We'll continue to work on that. Now that it's a little drier out, or at least getting there, we're probably gonna put him back in his shoes, and his boots, I should say, and see if that works for him. You know, pretty soon here in the next few weeks, he is going to be able to go on the other pastures once they dry out a little more. So that should help his movement a little bit as well. So that's what the front feet x-ray showed. Fortunately and unfortunately, the back and neck x-rays didn't show a whole heck of a lot. He doesn't, the changes from the other x-rays that he has are not, there haven't been significant changes. You know, he does have one area where the vertebrae are a little closer, but they're not touching. But nothing that was definitely pointing to, oh, here's the issue. He is very, very sore on his back, between his withers and his pelvis. So, sorry about that. You know, on this side I lose connection. But what I was saying is that he is sore between his withers and his pelvis, and so what we're going to do is we're going to actually start some chiropractic treatment on him and see if that helps with his back. And the thought is that his right front is bothering him. So most likely the issues that he's having with his left rear are due to the fact that his right front is bothering him. So if we can get the balance back on his front right, hopefully we're hoping that it's going to be a domino effect where it not only obviously helps his front, but it's going to help his back and his rear leg. So in the meantime, we're gonna see if his maybe pelvis is off. When Dr. Lauren did the lamest exam, she did mention that the way that he was acting and the way that he was, that it does seem to indicate that there is that his pelvis does need to get popped back in. So that is going to happen as soon as Dr. Bonnie can get out here, and hopefully she'll also be able to work on Barney at the same time and pop his pelvis back in if he will allow it. So you know, good news, bad news, kind of with Louie, in that, you know, I was really hoping for the definitive answer on what was. I was looking for a definitive answer on what was going on with him. While we didn't get that, we do have, you know, a treatment plan that we're going to start and see if we get any results off of it. I also really think that him being on a larger pasture where he's going to be able to walk around a little bit more is also going to at least help him out a little bit. If you look at the muscles on his butt, you can see how defined they are on the right side, and the left side they're not. So, you know, his issue with his back, pelvis, whatever, you know, it's clear as day that this has been going on for a long time, and that's why the definition in his muscles are so very much different from his right side to his left side. So that's the update on Lulu. So let's scooch around to the other side and bear. As you can see, Gabby girl's laying down again. I don't know why she's laying in. I literally just cleaned this area for her because I knew that she was going to be laying down. So hold on a second so I can get that out of her face. Excuse me, Gabby. Sorry guys, hold on a second. Sorry about that if I made anybody sick doing that. I just didn't want that in her face. Hi, Genevieve. So, Gabby. You know, it's been rocky. It's been rocky trying to get Gabby feeling better. She is making very small strides. You know, I'm looking at the strides in literally like baby steps at this point. She is willing to walk around more, and she has been walking around more. She's willing to put more weight on it. So those are all, you know, very positive signs. While Dr. Lauren was out here, she did take another set of x-rays with Gabby. Gabby was much more willing to have them done. And so she was able to take another set. And while the pressure and the gas buildup and fluid buildup has significantly reduced, there was one small area that we had to, Mark actually was coming in later that day, so he opened that up for us. So as you can see, her hoof is still duct taped. One of the things that is going on with her is that because of all... Oh, stretch it out, baby girl. Because... Oh, she's a character. She is a lounger. Sorry. Because of how much soaking we were doing, Mark was getting concerned that her hoof... She also snores. That her hoof was getting too moist. So we have backed off on the soaking, and now we're really working on getting the moisture out of her foot so it can dry out. Because the gap in her hoof, you know, the pocket where everything was, is so pronounced. I am flushing it with a water and a bleach solution, just to get the stuff in there and make sure that nothing is festering in there. So that is being done, but we're just not doing the huge soak that we were before. Another thing that has been happening with her is that because she has been laying down so much, and because everything has been going on with her body, Dr. Lauren does think that she had a mild tie-up episode. And we came to that conclusion, or we looked for it, because the color of her urine had changed significantly. So I was concerned with that. So I got a urine sample, and Dr. Lauren took a look at it, and because of the values that were in it and her blood work, came up with the conclusion that she had a mild tying up episode. So her muscles weren't locked up like can happen in some tying up episodes, because we were palpating her muscles, you know, touching her muscles and seeing how malleable they were, you know, how squishy they were. So, and they're all fine, but at some point she did, her body did have a tying up episode, and the changing color of her urine is due to her body just getting the toxins out from tying up. So so we're working on that. We're also working on her hoof health. So we've purchased some Farrier's Formula double strength. So it's going to help with her joints. It's going to help with her coat, which she has had coat issues, and she still does have coat issues. And it's going to help with her hoof strength too. So that should be in on Tuesday. So we're starting that next week on her to help her. So, you know, it's kind of do everything that we can for her, and just keep at it. And, you know, little by little, we'll get there. It's not, this is in no means a sprint. This is definitely a marathon with getting her back to feeling better and comfortable with walking and such. So that's the Gabby girl update. As you can see, you know, it's gotten a lot sunnier here. It's supposed to be really sunny for the next week or so. So I made the decision of putting her mask back on. She's not real happy with it. She's already tried to take it off a couple of times, but she needs it because her eyes are weeping again. And I think she's uncomfortable and itching her eyes because of the weeping that's happening. So you can see the same is true with Barney Bear. It was just time for him. He's spending so much time out and about. You know, it's a little different when he's over here in the barn a lot, but he hasn't been. He's been laying out in the sun, and he's been out just going on his little adventures and such. So I put his fly mask back on, actually his visor back on, and of course he's okay with that. But he's been, you know, he's been doing well. No major changes with him. He, you know, we're still doing the red light treatment on his back and hips to get him, you know, a little less stiff. Mark was in on Wednesday. Sorry, I forgot what day of the week it was and when they came. The days are just all blurring together. Came in on Wednesday to do everybody's feet, and we were able to do the fronts on Barney, but he was just too sore on his back end, and honestly he was too frazzled from getting an injection to allow Mark to do his back feet, which, you know, he holds form with his back feet very, very well. We're happy that we're able to get his front feet done. So, you know, our philosophy always is meet the horse where they're at. And if Barney happens to be having a bad day where, you know, he's just physically or mentally not into having a farrier, a trim done, then so be it. It's not, you know, it's not something that his feet are totally out of control. So it's better doing it that way than run the chance of either Barney, Mark, or myself getting hurt with trying to trim him. We're not able to put him in stocks like you can with a sighted horse. He would just not do well in that situation. So we take what he gives us and you know, and do the best that we can for him with where he's at. The same with Gabby. We didn't really trim Gabby because it wasn't feasible, because obviously she's pretty much, while she's willing to put more weight on her bad leg. Yes, we're talking about you, baby girl. While she's willing to put more weight on her sore hoof, I think it would be asking way too much to it would be asking way too much to do a trim job on her. So so we held off on that, but everybody else got a trim. So that is really the update on everybody, right, baby girl? You can see that I did some shedding with her today. I did a nice little grooming job on her while she was eating some hay. So so the other thing that we did was that we did trim her feathers. She was starting to exhibit a little bit of some scratches. So the easiest way to nip that right in the bud, because God knows she doesn't need anything else going horribly wrong with her, is just to trim the feathers and then use coat defense and get the dry up her skin so that she is not so uncomfortable. So, you know, I did the best job I could with trimming her up. I'm hoping the trimming works and that I don't have to go ahead and completely shave them. From those of you that had been with me for a while, you know, with Toby, we had to totally shave his legs to get that under control. And so I'm hoping she's already dried up significantly just by trimming. So Barney Bear doesn't have such issues. Not sure why, because he's in, you know, he does stay away from the mud, but he does get in the mud as well. But here you go, buddy. But he has, knock on wood, he doesn't have that issue. So, but that's it for this week, guys. I will keep you guys updated on when Bonnie will be in to do the chiropractic on Lulu and Barney. But until then, everybody be well, and I will talk to you guys next week. See you later, everyone.